We've seen it. Nobody wants to be there.
It's a big bad show tonight.
Just can't take this damn parade. Who cares? Show. There's a 2-mile wait to get past the damn green line.
Anyone who gets scared by a bear in the neighborhood, call Joe Murray.
I happen to trust Joe Murray.
First time I ever met Joe Murray was at a hoop.
Joe Murray, full show tonight, and it's going to be full shows the rest of the way in this time slot. Got Skaz here. We got our intern Kevin tonight. And the Boston Celtics are NBA champions. 2024 NBA champions. Celebrated all night. They're in Miami right now. Good for them. In Miami tonight, celebrating, and then there'll be a big parade this weekend. But the Celtics, winners, and will drop their 18th banner. I was in the building last night. I didn't get a chance to stay till the end, but once I saw a Kristaps Porzingis dunk and a Dallas Mavericks timeout at right about the 8:50 mark, I said, taillights, went back downstairs. We did post-game until 2 a.m. So you may have heard a lot of my reaction to it. I've now gotten about 6 hours of sleep and ready to let loose. And tonight's going to be very easy. It's about you guys. Celebrate your team. Celebrate them. In this time slot, we have told you this is the best team in the NBA. We've told you that no team will beat them in a 4-game series. So I'll flex a little bit. Like, we told you what this team is. We've told you Jason Tatum's a great player, Jaylen Brown, all that stuff. Right? Best supporting pieces, right? Joe Mazzulla ball. Is it going to work? So we've told you everything. And it all happened. It all happened along the way. Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, of course, led the way in a closeout game, right? Closeout games. We told you Jason Tatum averages about 30 points a game and almost a triple-double, and that's exactly what he almost had last night. Jason Tatum got things started with a monster first half. Jaylen Brown also followed in that regard last night. And the Celtics did it in a team effort. Game 5, they absolutely dominated. Tatum had 31 points and 11 assists. Jaylen Brown, 21 and 6. Al Horford had 3 threes. Derek White, 2 steals and a block and a couple of loose teeth. Drew Holiday, all over the place. Porzingis even made an appearance. Right? Peyton Pritchard played 4 seconds last night. It was a absolute total team effort. And I remember other teams around the NBA saying, we want Boston. You got him. You got him. You heard the talk about the best backcourt in the NBA offensively. Drew Holiday and Kyrie Irving. Well, the best backcourt in the NBA Finals was Derek White and Drew Holiday. Kyrie Irving held to 15 points in a closeout game in Boston. It's embarrassing. Sorry. Kyrie Irving was everything to that team. When he played well, they did well. When he did terrible, they lost. He wasn't the supporting piece that Luka Doncic needed. Luka Doncic scored 29 points last night, and it didn't make an impact. Al Horford wins his first NBA championship. He played tremendous defense, whether it was off the bench or even when Kristaps Porzingis went down this year, he jumped right into the starting lineup, and they didn't miss a beat. One of the best pick-and-roll defenders, matched up with the best player multiple times, all throughout the playoffs. And yes, Porzingis played despite his injury. I thought he made an impact. I also thought he took a cheap shot. But both played so well in the post, right? On the rebound, stretching the floor for those guards. One stat from last night, The Celtics out-rebounded Dallas 51-38. Crushed them on the boards. Here's a couple other pieces. We told you about the 5 and then the 6 with Porzingis. Sam Hauser shot 48% from 3 in the finals. And he was very good on defense. Did pretty well on the switches on Luka and Kyrie Irving. Told you Peyton Pritchard played 4 seconds. But added that scoring depth that they needed this year. In a closeout game, the Celtics did exactly that. They closed out the quarters. They closed out the halves. They won the assist battle 25-18. They shot the three-pointer better. They led in steals. They got to the foul line more. They outcoached and outclassed the Dallas Mavericks, led by their star players. Everyone else filled in, played their role, and what a response after one of the biggest blowouts in NBA history. No one will remember that loss now. All they'll remember is the 2024 Celtics, led by Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, who can now say they are NBA champions, and it might be just their first one. So we'll lead it off there at 617-779-0985. What's up to the YouTube fam? I see you guys in there. Feel free. I'll read your stuff all night long. I see people already in there. MP, Brokerage Babes in there, Prince Humperdinck. I see you guys. We'll read your stuff all night long, but it was a complete team effort. And the MVP went to Jaylen Brown. Well deserving of it. We told you, gave you those odds too, plus 625. Told you the Celtics would win in 5. All those things happened. So today, a lot of vindication on the show. Isn't that how you all feel, Celtics fans? We want Boston. How many people picked the Mavs in 6? And I'm not here to push back on any of those people. It's just that, what are you watching? I was very critical of the national media because they were lazy and uninformed and creating storylines that they did no research doing. How does the Tatum Brown riff look today? It's laughable. What you gonna say now, right? Isn't that the big saying? What are they gonna say next? And I know it is easy to sit here and say, can they coexist going forward? That's going to be a conversation that we'll do for years to come. But for today, the day after winning a championship, hashtag repeat. I'm starting it right now. Hashtag repeat. Kevin, you can put that in your little signage tonight. I'm starting it. Repeat. Not just one. This team is built to win multiple championships despite what the NBA has in plan for their second apron, salary cap, draft, whatever. They are built for multiple championships. And they're at that age now, right? 26, 27 years old on super max contracts, your biggest stars. It would be a disappointment if there was just one, but let's celebrate the one that happened last night, and we'll be here all night for that. I'm starting the repeat a little early. But you know what? Last night was awesome, and for Brown and Tatum and Missoula and everybody, the payoff was absolutely worth it. What are they going to say now? We'll start it there at 617-779-0985. We'll get Skaz's thoughts on the game as well. I'm Joe Murray here on 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Don't go anywhere. There's more Joe Murray. On the way on 98.
What does holding this trophy mean to you?
It was a full team effort, and I shared this with my brothers and my partner in crime, Jason Tatum. He was with me the whole way, so we shared it together.
You've said that what's been different about your game this season is that you let go all of the anxieties, all the doubts. First of all, you're a superstar, so no one knew you had any anxieties or doubts. But how were you able to do that to unlock your game, as you put it?
Just my faith in the Most High, just believing in my teammates, my coaching staff, and just being grateful. I've been grateful for every moment, every opportunity. I never hug my head. I don't care. I don't give a what nobody got to say. And we come out and we play basketball. Excuse my language. I'm sorry.
Back here at 98.5 The Sports Hub of Joe Murray. Oh, we're here all night, everybody. We'll be playing you sound, audio, reacting. We'll hear from StoolGreenie later on. And Brian Robb, who was getting champagne on all night long. Good for him. Again, the phone number is 617-779-0985. Skaz, you'll appreciate this. I have somebody going, "Hey, Joe, don't hurt your shoulder patting yourself on the back too much." And I wrote back to the guy, I go, "Wow, imagine having to validate that you know ball." You've been here every night, so you're guilty by association as well. I mean, we just told you what we saw every night, right? This was the best team in the league. We did see a change in Jaylen Brown's game. I think people maybe didn't see it until the playoffs, but...
Yeah, I don't know if I'd call it guilt by association. I would call it correct by association.
Okay, correct by association. Yeah, no, but just imagine trying to validate that, you work all the games and have an opinion, and you realize the team that you watched all year that won over 80% of the games.
They are who we thought they were.
So now we can crown them, right? You want to crown them? To crown their ass.
They've been crowned, and rightfully so. They earned it. I mean... Yeah, were there little hiccups here and there? Sure, but no major hiccups. Everything was overblown. They went 16-3 in the playoffs.
They had more playoff wins than the Detroit Pistons did this year. An actual NBA team.
That's a stat for you right there. They were dominant. This is who they were. We'll play some SVP sound later where he really sums it up pretty eloquently. But yeah, they were the best team in the league. They were the best team in the league all year. There are no asterisks. There are no ifs, buts. They are NBA champions forever.
You know what I think back on? It's not the whole, can you believe all the teams that picked the Mavs? Like, that's not my angle on it. The angle is, what were those people watching? Like, do they just want to look at the stars? Like, their stars, Embiid, right? Giannis, who else is in it? LeBron. Just trying to think of the other ESPN people.
Well, Anthony Edwards was the superstar. He was Michael Jordan 2.0.
Luka, too, for that matter. By the way, I said this all playoff long, so one more victory lap, if I may. The Celtics dominated. People want to say it was an easy road, and fine. I don't care.
That's what happens when you earn the 1 seed. You make it easier on yourself.
I'll say this, if you want me to say it. Yep, they were the best team because they had the best record, so they got the best path.
Odd we didn't hear from any Heat fans last night.
Yeah.
Maybe if Eric Spoelstra and Jimmy Butler tried in the regular season with, their great schemes and effort that they put forth, in the playoffs, they wouldn't have to be the 8 seed. They wouldn't have to play in the play-in and get guys hurt. They wouldn't have to be an 8 seed that's exhausted from going through Milwaukee and Boston, so they get the crap kicked out of them by Denver in the finals. But some teams take care of business in the regular season. Some teams, if you got a superstar like Jimmy Butler, who's won, I can't even count how many rings, you get to take it easy in the regular season and get applauded for it for trying for 2 months out of the year.
That's the take. I'll give you another one. Cerrone, I'll give him credit for this. Cerrone was outstanding during our coverage at the NBA Finals, but he said that if the Celtics don't lose to the Heat last year, they bring this team back. Right? Marcus Smart, all that. If they didn't lose last year, they don't retool this group. Potentially 3 straight NBA Finals. Who would change that? But a victory lap, I would just like to say this. The team has played defense this year. And they showed it. Like, the Ime Udoka crew gets so much credit because they were a defensive-minded team. Their defense led to their offense. And we'll get into Missoula ball and all that in a minute here, but playing the Heat, they wore the Heat down. I know they're without Butler, but they wore them down. When they played Cleveland, Donovan Mitchell missed games because the Celtics wore you down. When they played the Pacers, people, oh, no, Halliburton. No, they wore them down too. And you know what they did to Dallas? They wore Luka Doncic down. They made Luka Doncic not look like the superstar he was. By the way, Luka Doncic led every statistical category, I believe, right? At one point, scoring, all that. Let it. But they made him look almost average. Almost average. Luka, during other parts of the playoffs and during the regular season, was a clutch player, primetime performer, talk trash, really likable guy. They made him work, and he didn't want to. So I've used the word front runners this year. The Celtics were the front runners from the start and never looked back. Their style of play allowed them to literally play that way and make teams tap out. And then when you wanted to play defense, you could lock it down. I got one more for you. People might look at the 2024 Celtics and say, easy path there, whatever. They have potentially 4 Hall of Famers on this team. Potentially. I know some people are going to roll their eyes when I say this. Tatum and Brown might be guaranteed Hall of Famers by when it's all said and done. Al Horford's now going to get consideration. And I'm telling you, he's going to go to the Basketball Hall of Fame, whether you like it or not. The whole story is if he gets 42 put up there. I don't know what Drew Holiday will be for the rest of his career. I don't know. But he is teetering a borderline potential Hall of Famer. White and Porzingis? I don't know. But looking at this team, 16-3 playoff run without one of their star players most of the games? How could you look back on this team and say they're not one of the best teams of all time? People say we have things to do today. Today, I'm looking ahead. This team might have 4 future Hall of Famers. When you look back on it, that could be one of the greatest teams of all time. Today, you might not feel that way. But looking ahead, think about that. 617-779-0985. Let's go to the phones. We'll start it off tonight. We got Keith. He's in Virginia. Hey, Keith.
What's going on, Joe?
How you doing, buddy?
I ain't making no noise. Doing pretty good right here in Virginia. I was so happy the way that game turned out last night because I've been saying all year we beat people up.
They did beat people up every round, right?
Every round we beat people up. It was wonderful.
It was wonderful. What's the weather like out there right now in West Virginia? I feel like you're on
92 down here.
90, I feel like you're on the back porch drinking some suds.
No, sitting here getting ready to play a game.
Oh, what do you got tonight? The hockey game, right?
Yeah, we got a hockey game tonight, but I'm still in Celtic mode. So
Celtics mode, baby. We're here all night long.
I'm in Celtic mode.
You got it, Keith. What else? Anything else, man?
I'm going to put on my Cedric Maxwell jersey for the next couple of days and be happy.
I like that. I'm going to tell Max that. By the way, Max is called into every show today. I mean, if you see Cedric Maxwell, just put him right through. Do you know who he is, Kevin? Okay, good. Just wanted to make sure. It's happened before where people tried to call in and they didn't know who the guy was. Gail on the line. Hey, Gail.
Hey, how are you?
How you doing?
I just wanted to say, I first of all, I really enjoy your show every night.
Thank you.
And I'm avid listener of 98.5. But very quickly, I was at the game last night, and I'm a season ticket holder, and I was getting really disappointed in everybody picking Dallas. But last night, my seats are right next to ESPN, and Stephen A. and a fan got real close to blows by the end of that game, and I wasn't sure if that was on TV or not, but it got a little alarming. Nobody was real happy with Stephen A.'s picks.
Oh, I'll have to look into that. But Kyrie got into it. I saw that with a fan.
Now, look into as the confetti fell, and I'll tell you, it was probably about the 8th or 10th row in section 9 or 10 that was really giving Stephen A, and he was going right back at it, and it went on for a bit. So
he was feisty today.
It's not a blip. I'm sorry?
Oh, thanks, guys. He was feisty today if you watched him on TV, and I appreciate the call, and thank you for the kind words. He got feisty today with his co-hosts. Oh, it was good. It was good. Yeah, a lot of receipts today. That's fine. This is the day to do it. You know? This is you got receipts? You want to do it? This is the spot. 617-779-0985. I didn't have that one written down, Skaz, but in my head, I'm sitting there being like, wow. We're just talking about the 2024 team. This is why I'm hashtag repeat already. When you look back on the 2024 team, Joe Mazzulla is the head coach, right? Their coaching staff is going to consist of Charles Lee, who's going to become a head coach now, or it will be the head coach of the Hornets, who had a bunch of Hornets there last night. Sam Cassell is going to be a head coach somewhere, right? You look at that, and then Van Gundy just went to the Clippers. You look at the team, they may potentially have 4 Hall of Famers. Isn't that what people say about the 86 Celtics? Oh, look at that team. Look how many Hall of Famers they had. This team has 4, and who knows about Porzingis and White and all that, and I don't know if they're going to get there. But looking back on it, when you look at history, they might be one of the best teams of all time. You might not feel it today. You might look back and say, no, they were nothing like those teams. I don't know. I'm just curious, how many in this league, how many times do you keep a team under 100 points? Like, not a lot of teams do that consistently. I looked at the numbers today. Like, they're a historical defensive team. Quite frankly, they're a historical offensive team as well. So, today, people will tell you maybe 86 was better or 08. I don't care about any of that. I just look at it and say, looking back at this team, years from now, they might be considered one of the best of all time. 617-779-0985. We'll get your Sports Hub headlines coming up right now.
Sports Hub headlines.
Boston Celtics, NBA champions, winning last night 106-88. And Jaylen Brown named Finals MVP. There will be a parade on Friday. He's the reason why this happened. He's not going to do the victory lap with a pat on the shoulder like I have tonight. Wick didn't do that one. He didn't do that. Missoula. You know why? You know, I'll cross sports for a second here, but I think the Patriots struggled because of the coaching staff. It wasn't Bill's guys. The ownership meddled and brought guys in. I think you could say the same about last year and Joe Missoula's first year. There were guys on that staff that weren't his guys, right? David Stoudemire thought he got overpassed, went to Georgia Tech, right? Hardy, a bunch of guys left. That staff wasn't his. But the one thing was he was one of the leftover guys from the Brad Stevens team. And when they were going to select their next coach, they wanted somebody that wasn't on Ime Udoka's staff. And by the way, to bring up Ime Udoka for a minute here, you lost, bro. You screwed up. You screwed up. Ime Udoka is a damn good basketball coach, but they could move on from him, replace him in a year with a guy who was really a secondary assistant coach, but had an analytic mind and had a relationship with the players and was a former college player. He took his lumps. People thought he should have been fired last year. Nope. Wick Grousbeck surrounded him with his guys. Brought in Sam Cassell. Brought in Charles Lee. This was Joe Missoula's team this year. So I credit Wick for having that meeting, spending the money and surrounding Missoula. And one guy who really didn't do much last night, or really didn't get much, publicity as far as I saw, was Brad Stevens. And we can't say enough about Brad. Brad has made, every move Brad has made has been A to A+. Every one of them. And I saw a clip, and I think it was on NBC Sports Boston, but it was Drew Holiday with Scal and Eddie House, and he's with Brad Stevens. And he goes, Brad, I can't thank you enough for bringing me here. And he hugged him. So I credit Wick Grousbeck for all of this, but he surrounded the coach with his guys. He gave Brad Stevens the authority to trade pieces that have been very successful here. You want to look at it, Malcolm Brogdon was the sixth man of the year. I know he's dealing with an injury, but guy's a damn good player. Marcus Smart, say whatever you want about him. He's considered one of the better defensive players in the league. Robert Williams was a young talent, signed a new contract, and when healthy, one of the better defenders, probably the better big men in all the league. Grant Williams developed a shot to stay in the league. They moved on from those four guys and replaced them with Holiday and Porzingis. It's like, how did it happen? Wick put the fire under them. They made the moves, allowed them to make the moves. And Missoula ball works, everybody. Missoula ball works. If you don't like the three-pointer, look at the other things. Look at the defense. Look at winning the small margins. I already told you. They let in assists last night. They let in rebounds. They let at the foul line. They let in steals. They want to win those margins. That's Missoula ball. And they won a championship playing that style when people said it would be the fatal flaw. What are they going to say now? 617-779-0985. We got Jimmy in Newburyport. Hey, Jimmy.
Joe, Skaz, I love you guys. You guys melting today?
Oh, well, I'm got the AC on 63 right now.
Yeah, you got it. But, hey, I heard that caller earlier and got to say, God bless Cedric Maxwell. But, yeah, great opening this segment about Missoula and Stevens. I fully agree. Got a couple questions. But one of them, I'll start off with, you guys going to drink 40s with Stretch on the train Friday?
So he called in last night. I don't know if we're going to drink 40s with Stretch, but we might have to do something for Stretch. I don't know. But we are having 98.5 The Sports is doing something at Hurricanes, I believe, that day. So if we end up making it, that would be the place to meet. I don't know if we can. I don't know, drinking a brown bag 40 outside doesn't look good there.
Yeah, that might be tough sneaking that past the bouncer. But, yeah, great job all basketball season, boys. Great job all the time. And just say White is a baller. I hope we can keep him. And you don't have to validate yourself. They are who you thought they are.
Yeah. Thanks, Jimmy. Appreciate you, bro. Appreciate it. This is the place, guys. You want to do it tonight? This is the spot. Kyle in Plymouth. Hey, Kyle.
Hey, what's going on, Joe?
What's happening, buddy?
I just want to say, because I'm a big UConn fan, and the thing that drove me nuts about after they've won, and I just compare it to what the Celtics have done, is it's okay to admit dominance. I mean, just like UConn, the Celtics were so much better than everybody else, and they beat who they beat. They have no control over that.
Hey, Kyle, can I tell you something? I'm one of those guys who said that. Like they won back to back, right? I shouldn't get on them for winning the second one because of the road or the fact that the NIL has ruined the game. But they were dominant, and you're right. I probably look, and now that it's come a little bit closer to the team we cover, when you're the best team, you get the best road. That's just it.
Right, and it may be boring, but it was boring because they were that much better than everybody else. And I'm not even a Celtics fan. I'm a huge Knicks fan. But even if the Knicks were healthy, they weren't beating the Celtics. And it's such a lazy take, like, oh, the Nuggets would have been a better matchup, or the Timberwolves. Did anybody watch the Timberwolves against the Mavericks? No, they wouldn't have. It wouldn't have been. The Celtics are bar none the best team in the league, and they deserve their flowers. And top to bottom, and everybody who picked the Mavericks, if you just look at the rosters, the Celtics roster is far and away better than the Mavericks. And congratulations to the Celtics, and congratulations to everyone in Boston. They're the best team, and they won, and they deserve it.
Appreciate you, Kyle. That UConn is a good narrative, Skess. Narrative chronicle. I did say that when UConn won. I went, meh. Who'd they beat?
If you want to crown them, then crown their ass. But they are who we thought they were, and we let them off the hook.
That was a Chicago Bears Cardinals game. I can't remember the year. But, man, maybe we should put that on a shirt. You want to crown them? You want to crown them? Yeah, I did that with UConn. So, to be consistent, I do think the Celtics road was a little tougher than most people think. But I don't know. I saw this tweet because you mentioned Miami fans. That's where the Celtics are right now, Skaz. They're out in Miami. I saw the Celtics would have gotten bullied and slapped in the mouth by Jimmy Butler and had their season ended in the first round if he was healthy, and everyone in that godforsaken city knows it. I didn't read entirely what was written there, but that's from a Miami Heat correspondent and
a fanboy.
Yeah,
a media member who likes to prank call other media members. A very mature individual.
Yeah.
You know what Jimmy Butler's record is?
I was going to ask you about that. What is Jimmy Butler's record against the Celtics in the playoffs?
That would be a resounding 13-13, Joe. That would be 500. You know how many rings Jimmy Butler has?
He's been there twice, right?
He's got as many rings as Joel Embiid.
So just so I get it, the Celtics went twice and have won.
Oh, you're correct.
The Heat went twice.
Okay, I'm following.
And have 0.
Oh, that's interesting.
Huh.
Do you
what's
think
better, having the ring or not having the ring?
I don't know, Joe. Jimmy Butler getting hurt gives you a lot of excuses, a lot of room to play the ifs, but game. Let's if Jimmy Butler was healthy, yeah, he probably would have lost to the Celtics in 5 games, just like everybody else did.
Yeah.
You think the Miami Heat not trying in the regular season might be a bigger problem to worry about than the Boston Celtics for Heat fans?
Yeah, I mean, if you want to bring up the path and all that, fine. I'm okay if you thought it was people thought it was an easy path. I'm fine with that. But I look back on it and say that it dominated everybody.
I don't remember Heat fans calling it an easy path for the Nuggets last year when they played an 8 seed.
That's right, in the final. The
They
Denver
played an
Nuggets
8 seed in the first round. They played a 7 seed in the Western Conference Finals, and then they played an 8 seed in the NBA Finals.
So the Denver Nuggets beat an 8th seed in the NBA Finals?
Not just an 8 seed, Joe, but the 8 seed of the Miami Heat, Jimmy Butler and Eric Spoelstra.
So,
not your normal 8 seed.
Okay, so let me just try to understand this one more time. The Denver Nuggets.
Correct. NBA champs. Don't think there was an asterisk on that one.
The former defending champion.
Former champs.
Went to the NBA Finals and played an 8th seed.
Yes, twice actually in one playoff run. How odd is that?
And they won the championship.
They did. Pretty convincingly, too.
So you're saying that people said that was an easy path or didn't say
I'm having a tough time remembering, but I don't remember people clamoring about the Nuggets path. Maybe if Ryan, actually watched basketball or did his job instead of prank calling radio shows, he would know that, but not everybody does their job, Joe.
Huh.
Something we've learned over these playoffs with a lot of the hot take artists.
It's this is a Joe problem. I resent everybody who makes more money than me that literally in Newscast, by the way.
Well, I was going to say, if I resented everybody that made more money than me, I'd resent everybody. Be a long list.
Sorry, but what I'm laughing at is the fact that somebody could just post something or do something on the internet, and it just because of they're this person that has no knowledge, has done no research.
Big Pitbull fan. That's about all I know about this guy, which is an indictment in and of itself.
So 0 for Miami, 1 for the Celtics. And Miami doesn't know what their future is.
How old is Jimmy Butler, by the way? Just out of curiosity.
Well, I'm going to guess he's mid-30s.
You would say his prime is probably behind him, right?
He's 34.
No rings at 34 years old. Couldn't be my superstar.
Pitbull.
Man, all those regular season wins. Jimmy Butler trying his hardest.
But Skaz, he's an alpha, and when he's a bulldog, and when it matters, he does it all.
Can you imagine if him and Joel Embiid ever teamed up? How good that team would be.
Oh wait, didn't that happen before?
But I thought Jimmy Butler didn't have any help, Joe.
Or Joel Embiid.
These guys.
I don't know, James Harden, Jimmy Butler. They're all losers.
Losers.
All of you.
Jimmy Butler is a loser.
And by the way, the Celtics were there until last night.
Yeah, and how old are they? In 27 and 26? With a ring?
Hashtag repeat.
Hashtag Jimmy Butler wishes.
More of this. We're here all night, everybody. And by the way, did you see Peyton Pritchard? He played 4 seconds last night. Did you see what happened?
Pretty good 4 seconds.
Did he have more points in 4 seconds than Jimmy Butler did in the playoffs? We'll have more of that coming up next here on 98.5 The Sports Hub.
More Joe Murray coming up on the Sports Hub.
He's going to miss it. Rebound. Celtics have it. Horford outlet. It's Pritchard again. Pritchard, half court. It's in the air. He got it. He did it again. Peyton Pritchard did it again with the world watching. He knocks down a half-court three that will send the Boston Celtics into the locker room with a 21-point lead.
Horford arropó el balón. Pritchard desde la mitad de la cancha. ¡Distancia! ¡Por segunda ocasión en estos finales! ¡Eso es lo que yo hago! Peyton Pritchard levantando las manos.
La vimos, a la manera un déjà vu,
Well, that was the local version and the Spanish radio version, ESPN Deportes, of the Peyton Pritchard shot from last night. And he scored 3 points in 4 seconds. They did shorten up the bench last night. It worked. I love that. Tell me that's just... I always think of Bobby Kilty. I don't know if anybody remembers him. He played for I think the 07 Red Sox. He had one at-bat for... it might have been a home run or a grand slam. I can't remember what it was now. One at-bat in the World Series. I want to say it was a grand slam because now I'm making it bigger than it was. That's what doesn't matter. He had one at-bat, made one play, it was a home run, and we thought about it forever, and we welcomed it and recognized it always. And we'll do the same thing when it comes to Peyton Pritchard. Or, I don't know, Malcolm Butler's one catch with playing that one play, right? It's just you'll always remember the one, and Pritchard was that one.
Bobby Kilty, in his only at-bat against the Colorado Rockies, hit a solo home run, becoming the 21st player ever to hit a pinch hit home run in the World Series.
But see, it happened in 07. So here we are so many years later. I think it was a grand slam, right? And we're going to think it was a walk-off at one point, right? That's the story. That's the legend. That's why, even though it was 4 seconds, it was impactful, right? Did you see the jaw of Jaylen Brown after that thing?
Yeah, that was a great video. I forget who put that out, but
it was a slow-mo
reaction. That was our reaction.
It was like, you ever see dun, 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 dun. It was just a ball in the air. Kind of like, I don't know if you saw the Fresh Prince when Carlton and Will were fighting for the ball. Carlton stole it. The ball's up in the air, and he just completely airballs it. But it was one of those, except he hit it. Half court. They called the timeout. They got it. They put him on the court. It worked. It was great.
A very underrated part of that play, too, is Al Horford's awareness. He gets the box out immediately, and he doesn't do anything crazy, but he knows exactly where Pritchard is going to be. He finds him immediately and just gets it out. It's a very small play, but he boxed out, and he knew exactly where Pritchard was going to be, and that was the difference in the Celtics. They were ready to go.
All right, well, I see a name on the air. Should I grab this?
Of course.
All right, well, one of the Bankroll boys, Dan Lifshitz. Hi, Dan.
Hi, guys. How you doing?
Did you hit your Jaylen Brown plus 625 MVP?
I did. I actually got a much better number than that, but I had it all over the board, and I did. He won. I was pretty convinced that he was the best player in the series, and I thought he was going to be the best player in the series. He was very good in the UCF. I thought he was the better of the two players in the finals. I don't think a one-game performance really changes anything, and Tatum was definitely their best player last night. But, yeah, I like Jaylen, and the bet hit, and I'm happy. I did very well in this series.
Did you hear us crapping all over the Heat fans?
I am. I do kind of want to say one thing, because I don't – do you guys care more about seed or who you play?
Well, I mean, when you're the best team, it's you get the best opportunity, don't you?
Yeah, but I'm just going to say this, and again, I do not think there should be an asterisk. I want to make that abundantly clear. You win, you win. Who gives a crap who's in front of you, right? Like, you only play you can play. But to say the Celtics to say the Nuggets had an easier path, just going off spread, Joe, which you know that's what we do, right? The Celtics had the easiest spread in terms of spread value. The easiest path to the NBA Finals in NBA history by 40 points on the spread. So they had the easiest path just based upon since tracking spreads, which goes back to the 1970s, okay?
Yeah.
They had the easiest path by 40 points.
But
to say that they had an easy path and to say Denver did is, it's just it's not.
But Denver beat an 8th seed in the final.
And hold on, let me just say,
and they beat you. They beat us.
No, I get that, but.
Let me just how much of that I get at the opponent, but a lot of that also has to do with the Celtics. They get those spreads, those numbers, because the Celtics are that good too. It's not just because of the other teams.
Mostly because of the other teams. They were minus 1,400 against Indiana in the ECF, which is the largest opening number in the history of any conference final in any sport.
All right, so one more. They're -2. They're already plus 280 for next year, and Denver's plus 7 and change. Let's call it. Is that the biggest discrepancy from a favorite to a runner-up?
I wouldn't make either of those bets, to be honest. I think the Celtics have a really good chance to repeat. 280 is so short. Like, you got to think that there'll probably be a better number sometime during the offseason or like maybe after the offseason, something along those lines. When like the Lillard trade happened, the numbers shot down because everyone went, rushed to bet Milwaukee. You have to assume some team's going to do that. Maybe you'll get 350, 400 on the Celtics. That's the only reason I wouldn't bet it. I just think 280 is a rough.
It's not a good number. I understand the lift stats have it as I get you. We want the lift stats number. I just would like to be accurate that yes, the Heat, who almost blew a 3-0 lead, if Jason Tatum didn't get hurt, they still played an 8th seed and beat play-in teams. Please remember that. That happened.
100%. The path was easy last year, but just. Let's also be fair. They played the Miami without Jimmy Butler. They played the Cavs without mostly Donovan Mitchell. They played the Pacers without mostly Tyrese Halliburton. They had an easy path, but it shouldn't matter at all. I don't think if anyone gives anyone a hard time, I think it's really stupid to care about what the path was. But I do think that it's also fair to say, they had an easy path. Both things can be true.
I agree, but I think they got the easy path because they were the best team in the league.
Yeah, 100%. If they're not the number one,
so we agree.
They don't get that.
Both things are true.
100%. both things are true, absolutely. But to also be fair, they had a significantly easier path than Denver had last year. They played an 8th seed, but the Lakers are not really an 8th seed. They're probably more like a 4 or 5 seed, and Miami last year probably more like a 4 or 5 seed, maybe even higher. To be fair, in terms of where actually everyone's valuing those teams in an open free market, those teams. Miami was valued as the second best team in the East, outside of Milwaukee, and once Milwaukee was done, they were valued as the second best team in the East throughout that run. So so maybe you call them third, whatever you want to do, split the difference. It's either way. They played a much more difficult schedule than the Celtics did. But does it matter? No, it doesn't mean a damn thing.
Well, the Heat have been to 2 finals and have no championships, and the Celtics have been to 2 finals and have 1. So
now, Joe, let me ask you this: What did you think should happen in the MVP? Because there are a lot of people who feel that Jason Tatum got robbed. I'm very curious about your thoughts.
We'll get into that in a minute, but I thought Jaylen Brown deserved it, but Tatum had a chance to steal it at the end. He did.
Okay.
But I think they got it right.
Yeah. All right. Fair enough. Also, I did learn this. They vote for MVP in the third quarter.
Whoa. Wow. Well, Bontemps still went with Jaylen Brown.
So something very interesting that I don't know if it's always been that way, but they voted in the third quarter last night. So before Tatum went on that crazy run in the fourth, maybe that potentially swayed it.
Oh.
I got a question while we have Dan on the line. I saw that at one point Tatum was minus 550, and I think it might even have been in the fourth quarter. Does Vegas knows that it's already been voted on, though, right, at that point?
So super interesting. I actually don't know. I don't know if they knew that was going to happen. So tonight, if the Panthers are up, they're going to vote on the Conn Smythe in the second period. But those odds are probably going to be live at FanDuel and DraftKings and maybe some other places. I don't know if they know that those things are voted on earlier, and I actually didn't know that. I think they're either doing it right at the beginning of the third period or the second period, and they did it for last game too. Actually, I don't think they did because the game was so far out of hand. But I think the plan is they're going to do it if it's a reasonably close game. They're going to do it in the either late second or early third tonight. So no matter what happens late, like those votes are already going to be in. So I don't know, but Tatum closed like minus 650 or something like that on FanDuel, and so I'll just say this: there were some people sitting on Media Row last night texting some gamblers, telling them who people had voted for.
Wasn't me.
So, I'm not saying it was you.
No, it wasn't. I left. I went back. I was up there, but I left.
Can't confirm, but there were some people on Media Row texting other people to bet things for them because they knew who they were voting for. So that's how I know that's what happened.
All right, Dan. Thanks for checking in. We'll hear you on Saturday morning.
All right, guys.
Thanks,
I love listening to the show. I'll listen tonight.
Thank you. Giving us the lift stats. But now I'll have to think about that one more time, rethink about it. But they were so if they were, that would mean that Vegas thought that they were like really good. Like Vegas was like, they'll beat everybody.
Weird how Vegas thought that of them, but the betting public, I think I saw 89% at some sports books had Mavericks.
Yeah, you know who posted that today? Jaylen Brown on his Instagram.
And so stuff like that makes me a little wary of, ESPN and their talking heads influencing the betting market.
Yeah. Who didn't somebody just get in trouble for that? Who was it? Reese Davis? Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. I didn't see that.
Well, Shams almost too. Wow, we're late. We have to hit the headline. I'm Joe Murray on the Sports Hub.
From the Town Fair Tire Studios, this is the flagship station of the world champion Boston Celtics.
It is banner 18, mission accomplished.
WBZFM and HD Boston 98.5, the Sports Hub, a Beasley Media Group station. Sports Hub headlines.
Celtics are NBA champions. Jaylen Brown, the finals MVP. There'll be a parade this Friday, and Kristaps Porzingis is going to need surgery that'll keep him out for several months. Also, Jeff Van Gundy is going to join the LA Clippers staff with Ty Lue. Panthers and Oilers will play Game 5 in the Stanley Cup Finals coming up in just a little bit. And the Red Sox trail right now 2-1 against Toronto in the fourth inning. Headlines, they are brought to you by Awaken 180 Weight Loss. Don't put off losing weight this summer. Reach your goal during the easiest season for weight loss. Awaken 180, the official weight loss program of summer. I'm Joe Murray. Your next update in 30 minutes.
Mission accomplished.
Goes to Derek White, who steps back into the corner for three. Kick into the corner. Al, three. Got it. Offensive rebound. Lively. Blocked by Derek White. A monster block.
This is the flagship station of the world champion Boston Celtics. 98.5, the Sports Hub.
Let's start with some numbers here to ponder. The obvious launch point here, 18, as in banners. The most in the history of the NBA. Boston gets there with an emphatic Game 5 win after somehow they trailed by 48 in their lone loss in the finals. That's just kind of a comical footnote. The C's went 16-3 in the playoffs, simply a continuation of who they were all season long. All told, the Boston Celtics won 80 games in the regular season and the playoffs. This is who they were from October forward. Never lost more than 3 games in a row. They led half their games by at least 20 points, which makes you wonder why anyone wondered about them. But it's a league that's about stars and static and drama and beef and chatter. And you know what Boston kind of was, or I guess is? Maybe boring, but in the best possible way. Their 35-year-old head coach, Joe Mazzulla, is serious business at all times. Their stars, Tatum and Brown, they don't traffic in nonsense. They prove that sometimes, if you're actually patient in this incredibly impulsive world and you let things bake, things work out. And what have you heard me say throughout the years that's as big a compliment as I can pay any player or any team? All cake, no icing. The Celtics were all substance, and that is what you want. They just won all year long, and they continued steamrolling to the duck boats. Were obstacles eliminated along the way due to injury? Yep, they sure were. You know what you'll notice about banners, wherever they might hang? There are not asterisks on them. People won't look at this one and talk about who the Celtics did not face. That's never how it works, and it shouldn't, because this is who Boston has been throughout this season. The best team in the NBA. Congrats to them. Champions of the world.
I like that. Scott Van Pelt after the Celtics win the NBA championship. They were just substance. They weren't the frills, the frosting, the stylish part of the cake. They greeny. But think back. They traded Kevin Garnett, Paul Pierce to Brooklyn to acquire all those first-round picks. In reality, those first-round picks turned into Jaylen Brown. They traded back from number 1 overall to 3. That first-round pick they acquired got them Derek White. And then they took Jason Tatum with the number 3 overall pick. Just think about that. They all developed and they won a championship in 8 years. 8 years. That's impressive right there. You don't just draft guys and win right away. And by the way, they've had multiple opportunities to get there and they couldn't get over the hump. Talent was always there. But this is a great story. This is a great story. But some people want to say it's boring. When you're dominant, maybe it is boring. Remember when the Patriots were blowing people out? They thought they were running up to score. I mean, when you're winning, everyone's got something wrong. There's always something people don't like about you. Let's talk to Mark. He's in Wilmington. Hey, Mark.
Hey, how you doing, Joe?
Good, man.
Yeah, man, I'm enjoying this. Last time they won was 2008. I was only 7 years old. And, man, I'm looking forward to the future. Tatum and Brown, they're only 26, 27. And, all the things that, they said were our downfall, we didn't shoot that well in the finals. Tatum didn't play that well. Porzingis' health, he wasn't healthy for most of it. And we freaking won. We only lost 3 games the whole playoffs. We didn't even lose enough games to lose one series, let alone we just absolutely blew everybody out of the water.
That's a great point, Mark. We've said that no team could beat them 4 times. They lost 3 times the entire run. Steven's in Natick. Hey, Steven.
Hi, how are you?
Hi, how are you?
Good. Thing I like about this team, and I've been a Celtics fan since the 60s, is what elevated them, too, is their religious faith. Missoula, Brown, Horford, they all talked about it, Drew Holiday. That religious faith.
Yep. Faith in each other, I would say more than anything. Sorry, we don't do that here. Kevin, I know you don't know about this yet, but no, it's not your fault. No politics, no religion. Out. We'll do in or out later on. A couple more. I know Greenie's coming up. He's ready. Greenie wanted to do both spots tonight that we had. Cam in the car. Hey, Cam.
Hey, what's going on, Joe? I've really been enjoying listening to you guys. I always try and make it to the 7 o'clock show after work. I just wanted to talk about Jason Tatum. I know he really deserves this contract. He really deserves to be the highest paid player. I get it. I just really, really hope he doesn't. If you just look across all leagues, to build a dynasty, you can't be the highest paid player. You can't have 2 guys, 3 guys getting paid all this crazy amounts of money. The leader needs to be like, all right, it'll come back to me.
Nope. Not doing it. Sorry, no, nothing happened, Skaz. I saw you. No, and Cam waited, and I apologize. The leader of the team is going to get paid, and I would advise him. Listen, he's got an agent, right? By the way, did you see what happened after the game last night? They had a whole Nike ad and all that stuff. This guy's going to camp. He's one of the most marketable guys in the NBA. I'm sorry, but the most marketable guy in the NBA needs to take the Supermax. Sorry. Oh, but he should be a leader and take less. No, go get it all. Can you believe that? I bet you Wick's going to say the same damn thing to him. Go get your bag. Go get it. Going forward, Skaz, it's all about the bag. Imagine the repeat.
I would be offended if Jason Tatum didn't take the bag.
You know what? I would have been offended if Jaylen Brown didn't.
Absolutely. Mike Conley gets the bag, highest contract in NBA history. Jason Tatum doesn't get one. What are we doing?
See ya.
Guess what the beauty of the NBA is, and the beauty of having Wick Grossbeck as your owner? You can give Jason Tatum the bag and still pay Derek White.
That's right. And everybody else.
No need to do one or the other.
Listen to me, everybody. I'm glad I'm the faith is there. The Lord and Savior, yep, all that stuff. But when it comes to money, you got to get paid. Those are the back-to-back calls we just had. And now we're going to talk to StoolGreenie coming up next here on the Sports Hub.
Don't go anywhere. There's more Joe Murray. On the way.
NBA champions for 2024. Who else to have on the air then? Dan Greenberg, StoolGreenie, Barstool Sports. Have you slept yet, Greenie? I haven't potted you up, so let me pot you up. Sorry about that. Have you slept yet, Greenie?
Joe, I got to be honest. I'm speaking to you from basketball heaven. It's nirvana. I don't know how else to describe it.
So I was in the building last night. Where I realized it was probably going to be a win was the consecutive 3 steals before the end of the first quarter. The place was shaking. Loudest I've ever heard of it, and I ended up running downstairs to do halftime from there. But, you know, we could talk about biggest winners and biggest losers. I saw you tweet this earlier, so I wanted to just bring it up. We'll get the negative stuff out of the way. But who's the biggest loser after this? Because I saw you put ESPN, but I think Luca and Jason Kidd are on there. But, yeah, it has to be ESPN, right?
I didn't know what to expect today. You never assume that they're just going to have a, come to Jesus moment and admit their sins. And instead, I'm being told about how great the Los Angeles Lakers are and how they're the best franchise ever, literally the morning after the Celtics just won the NBA title. So, I think, if anything, this playoff run has shown you can't always go to the national networks for the proper coverage.
See, wow. Okay, that's coming from somebody else. We do this every night. We watch every game. So we've been saying, I said, I literally bet Mavs Celtics final when it started and had the Celtics in 5. So whatever. I've done a victory lap all night long. But for you, sir, let's just call it what it is. Missoula ball can win and win a championship.
Listen, it's validation. It's validation for you, for me, for Joe, for the players, for the system, for the brain of Brad Stevens. That's the biggest takeaway is what we believed in, what we knew the Celtics, the style that they should play, what made them successful. The only thing that was left was to actually reach the top of the mountain, and they did it playing the style that got them there. I mean, I couldn't have drawn it up any better. It's better than I imagined it could be, and we were proven right. And at the end of the day, who doesn't love being right?
Do you think this is the first real 3-and-D team to win a championship?
Oof. It's tough just because, the 3 is so much more enhanced. I would still consider the Warriors the 3-and-D sort of model. People, you don't want to overlook their defense. That was just as much the backbone of their run as the defense was for the Celtics title that we just witnessed. You have to be able to be versatile, defend at a high level. And in 2024, the 3-point volume is, like Joe said, it's the most important part of the game today. And if you can master that and not have a weakness in that area and hold everybody to under 100 points, that's how you set yourself apart. So I think the Warriors did that as well.
But I feel like it's their star players that were the defense and led the way, right? That's what I mean by first 3. I know the Warriors are a great team, and I get it. They're historically great. But I don't know, man. I just teams to hold teams under 100 points, and I think the stat was they were only held under 100 points 7 times during the regular season. The Celtics held them under 100 4 times just in a playoff.
I know. They locked in. It's all relative. I think the Warriors in their prime, their defense was just as nasty. I think, you also have to take in consideration this team is one of the greatest teams to ever walk on an NBA court. So they're going to be doing things that don't really compare to anybody else in history. And that's forever. That's set in stone. It's not debatable. I said it's like our wildest dreams have come true, and you almost have to pinch yourself to believe that it's real.
I was just about to ask you that. My take earlier on was that maybe right now they're not. But in hindsight, looking ahead here, this could be the greatest team. They could have 4 Hall of Famers on this team, right? If you want to throw Al Horford in the mix, who knows where Drew Holiday's is. Go ahead.
Yeah, I don't think you have to say the word could. I think this title solidified it, for those 4 guys. I don't think that's a could.
Do you think Drew Holiday solidified a Hall of Fame here?
Oh, yeah. He has the gold medal. He has 2 rings, 6 All-NBA defenses. I think he's getting in.
Wow. Yeah, you're making my point right now. I think this is
scoreboard. It's the scoreboard.
Yeah, and I'm telling you, man, we might look back and say, "Wow, look at Sam Cassell and Charles Lee and Van Gundy, all these guys." Like down the line, who knows? Porzingis, you never know, right? Maybe Derek White. They could go on a little bit of a run here. Looking back, this could be one of the greatest teams of all time.
I mean, Joe, you have to understand what this is for this era of Celtics basketball. This era's 86 team. We look back at that 86 team, man, they were loaded with Hall of Famers, some of the best to ever do it. I mean, have you been paying attention to what Jason Tatum's doing? Every game we get a tweet how he accomplished something not seen since Larry Bird. You know, we have the talent that supports that type of comparison, and then they just backed it up and won the title. I think at some point you have to call it like you see it, and you have to tell the truth. And the truth is, this is one of the greatest teams the Celtics have ever had in the history of their franchise.
Man, validation from Greenie. I like this. Dan Greenberg, StoolGreenie, joining us here on 98.5, the Sports Hub. The MVP stuff, I didn't care who won. I bet Jaylen Brown at plus 625 to win it, so I hit my bet. But you know what? There was, for a second last night, I wondered if Tatum could steal it. And obviously the voting came out. But I thought Tatum did enough to steal it, but I am glad that Jaylen Brown won it because, well, now I'm already talking repeat, and I think it gives Jason Tatum motivation now to go win one.
It was honestly the best case scenario because it's the validation for Jaylen. He was more than worthy of that award, but we also got the Jason Tatum franchise player, answer all the questions type performance that we all wanted to see. That was his final, test was, here you are on the doorstep of immortality. These are the games your best player not only shows up, but refuses to lose. And he had one of the best games of his entire life. So you get the validation of the Jaylen MVP while knowing Tatum did his role and answered the questions that everybody was asking of him his entire career. It's like you won the lottery. You got the best of both worlds.
All right, who was more upset after the Celtics won? Ime Udoka, Marcus Smart, or some other player?
It's Ime Udoka. I mean, that guy fumbled the dynasty. I mean, come on. That guy, what an idiot. But, that guy, that's tough for him. But, it brought us Joe Mazzulla, and I think we can all agree it would not shock anybody if we look, 10, 15 years from now, and he is, proven to be one of the best coaches that the league has ever seen. He's a revolutionary. He's the exact coach this team needed. And I'm glad that Ime is an idiot because it brought us to the promised land.
Dude, that brings up the next thing. Saron Battle has been on our coverage here on the Sports. I mentioned that if the Celtics didn't lose Game 7 a year ago against Miami, they wouldn't have broken the team up, right? They would have went to back-to-back NBA Finals. How do you break that up, right? So losing the Miami Heat, thank you, by the way, Miami Heat, right? Because last I checked, the Heat have been to 2 finals, right? How many rings, Greenie, do they have in their 2 finals?
They are still looking, still searching, unfortunately. Okay. Can't imagine what that must feel like, but, they're still looking.
And the Celtics have been to 2 and have 1, right? And
correct.
May look for a repeat. Okay, just wanted to make sure there. But the Heat last year, just for beating the Celtics, it motivated them. Like, think about it. The Heat, did that, motivated them. They retooled. The Bucks give up on Drew Holiday for days. It all helped the Celtics in the long run. Like, the rest of the league are idiots, it looks like.
It takes a village to win an NBA title, and sometimes that requires the incompetence of rival franchises, but that sounds like a them problem. It worked out pretty well for us, and I only care about how it works out for me and my favorite basketball team. So, I think it's the loss and the losing and the pain. Everyone talked about it all year. It was the motivating factor, but you really can only play that card once you win the whole thing. And I think this is the huge exhale moment for the fans, for the organization, for the 2 best players. The rest of their playoff lives, they don't have to play under the what if they never win, scrutiny. Now it becomes the question of how many can you get. And once you enter that territory, I'd say life is pretty good.
All right, so there's going to be a parade on Friday. The team's out in Miami right now, of course, right? They're out partying in Miami. You going to be there, man? What do you got going on? You going to be down there?
We'll see. We'll see if I have to work. We'll see. I'm going to go wherever the higher ups tell me to be is where I'll take that in. But I'm afraid I'm just going to self-combust, so I might need to be, in the safety of my own home. I'm not sure.
What do you know about this documentary that's been filmed about the Celtics?
So, it's probably going to win every award in the history of sports documentaries, so I know that off the top of my head without even seeing it. It could win an Oscar. I don't even know if they're eligible, but this one probably will be. And I think we are blessed that it didn't blow up in their face, and it's not a documentary about the biggest collapse in sports history. Instead, it gets to be about a Celtics title, and it's going to be as amazing as I think we're all hoping. All you have to do is look at any of the media that the Celtics have been putting out. It's revolutionary.
So anything else you want to get off your chest about this team? We mentioned the Peyton Pritchard 4 seconds, the greatest 4 seconds that he ever needed to be on the court. And we've talked about Hauser, right? Look at his 3-point percentage. Anyone else you want to shout out as you're high, man? You're riding high. You're riding green
listen,
right now.
We can't have a moment and not talk about Al Horford. This was for Al. We all knew it. The players knew it. Everything changed when he came here the first time back, in the Isaiah years. Myself, we had grown up never getting big-time free agents to come to Boston. Al changed it. To win it for him and to have it come in the way that it did is just, I couldn't think of a better, I'm not going to say send-off because I'm hoping he gets, a lifetime Udonis Haslem deal, but I'm just happy he's off that list of most games without a title. He's the ultimate Celtic, the ultimate winner. And I just, it fills my heart with joy that he got one, before he hangs it up.
2 things to add to that. James Harden is now the longest.
That's my guy. That's my Sun Devil.
Okay, that's one. And Al Horford is now the all-time leader in finals 3-point percentage. So minimum 20. Crazy. Minimum of 20, but go figure. Al Horford is in that category. Greenie, great job all year. Maybe if we could just look ahead a little bit. I know we're living in the moment, okay? Porzingis said he's going to be out for a couple of months. When you look at the team going into next year, really, there's no real free agents, okay? They could bring some guys back, but if there was is there a guy you think that could help fill the role, or would they maybe re-sign Tillman and give it to him, or Cornette gets another run, or do you think they look elsewhere? The guy I'd like is Dario Saric, but I don't know if there's anyone you had in mind that could maybe fill a role like that.
Well, I'd call about Wendell Carter. I think he's just like the natural Al Horford replacement. He's probably pretty expensive, so you may have to get kind of tricky there. I really just think their most important thing are figuring out Derek White's extension, figuring out Luke Cornett's free agency. Maybe you are able to sign Hauser early. He has that team option left, and then he's a free agent. So I think now it's about, keeping your own team together and going for another shot at it, and then seeing what minimum guys, want to come along for the ride.
What do you think was the best move this entire season?
This entire season? Probably starting Derek White.
Huh. Remember, he had the best plus-minus in one of them, right? Top in the league, top 3 in the league last year. What a move to put him in the starting lineup, because there was talks about him coming off the bench.
Right. It was fully handing the keys over to him. That was early, way before training camp. And, once he embraced the power of going bald, and then you gave him that role, and he started to thrive in it. And it's just another win for Joe Mazzulla. Imagine that.
Wow. Well, I like that. That's a good take. Derek White, the starter, one of the best moves of the year. He's StoolGreenie. We'll find out. I hope they send you somewhere, bro. It's gonna be hot.
I'm just happy it's happening. I'm just happy it's even existing. I don't care where I am on the planet.
If you want one other one, the Celtics have now won championships in the 2008 season and the 24 season. Recognize those numbers at all?
I do. It's interesting.
And you mentioned the Lakers earlier today, and so what do you think about Redick? You think he'll work out there?
I think I'm going to miss his podcast, and I look forward to it coming back on my feed, here quickly. I don't think, it's hard for a coach to last there, and once LeBron retires, that'll probably be it. So I look forward to his podcast coming back.
All right, Greenie, go everywhere, man. Do your media tour. right?
All right,
Tell
guys,
everybody how
appreciate it.
great the Celtics are, my man. Appreciate you, buddy.
Oh, best of all time.
You got it. I'm with you. Thanks, Greenie. I'm with Greenie. I hung up on him. I didn't mean that. I'm with Greenie. I thank you for validating it. This Boston Celtics team, you might look at it today and say, I'm so glad they won. But in reality, you may have just watched one of the greatest teams of all time. You want to look at NBA Hall of Fames? Jason Tatum's going. Jaylen Brown's going. Al Horford had won multiple championships in college. Just won one in the NBA. He's going. And you know what?
If you want to crown them, then crown their ass. But they are who we thought they were.
And Drew Holiday's going too after what we just heard. 2 championships, 6-time defensive, this, that, whatever.
Gold medal.
Gold medals.
Another one on the way.
He's going. That's 4 Hall of Famers. I don't know. What's Derek White going to be?
You think Brad Stevens is getting in?
Maybe Brad gets in. Maybe Mazzulla gets in. Who knows? Does Van Gundy ever get in? He was on the staff. What about Charles Lee? Can he turn around Charlotte? What about Sam Cassell?
Mike Gorman's a Hall of Famer.
Mike Gorman, Hall of Famer. This could be the greatest team of all time, and you're all poo-pooing it. Well, not you all. But some of you aren't crediting it enough and aren't looking at it enough. They may have had an easy path, but you know what? They dominated. For real. I'm going to write about this. 300 words. I'm going to give you 300 words or more how this could be the greatest team of all time. All right. We got in or out coming up in just a little bit. I lost my pen. Throw it. I see you guys on the phone lines, too. We'll get to the headlines here. I'm Joe Murray.
Sports Hub headlines.
Celtics win. Celtics win. That Drew Holiday thing just blew my mind. And I wanted to give you some numbers on Drew Holiday. 20%
I think it was
increase.
4 years, 100.
Yeah, it's 20%.
Yeah, it was 4 years and 126. So is that the most he could get even if he left?
So I'll look that up, but I believe with the way the salary caps are going, he could get
more than that.
Yeah.
Well, the thing that worries me a little bit about that was because, they tried to sign him this past off season and he didn't want to. So, his agent or his strategy may be to max, because this is going to be his last big payday, given his age. So, I mean, he's going to want to maximize his salary. It's going to be interesting. I mean, but maybe they can pay him even more than that if Horford goes off the books. Because my thought is, is he under contract for just another year?
So, and I appreciate the call. We'll do all the next year stuff, but Horford could re-sign but get paid less than $9 million. He could take a veteran.
Who was he worried about?
White.
Oh, okay. Yeah, they're going to pay him.
Yeah.
It has nothing to do with anybody else's money.
I think my question is, if they re-sign him, does he make more money staying in Boston or become a free agent? Can he get more money?
I would imagine he could probably make more money elsewhere, but Celtics should be competitive.
Well, who's going to pay him $150 million?
I think there are teams out there that to get to a floor
Bucks.
Maybe would do it. I don't know if the Bucks could do it.
Okay. Oh, like Charlotte.
Yeah, Charlotte, Detroit, like we mentioned, someone like that.
Oof, that'd be a tough look to bring in a guy like that, pay him that kind of money, and he's really a 3 or 4. But that's fine. That's what he is. He's one of the best at least in the league. That guy was rotting the pine in San Antonio. We got in or out coming up next here on 98.5 The Sports Hub.
What's it gonna be, McFly? Are you in or out?
More Joe Mo.
Gallagher and Naz, afternoons right now. Joe Murray on the Sports Hub.
Are you in or out? Gotta know without a doubt. I'm the one you need for a dirty deed. I'm the best. Success is guaranteed. Awaken.
I want to know, is Rick Moranis back? That's what I want to know.
Yeah, I heard he's might be doing something. I love Spaceball. I love Spaceballs. I love Spaceballs. Spaceballs too, huh? What would that? I mean, I'm in.
Yeah, if Mel Brooks is doing it, I'm in.
Okay, so would he be Barf?
Not jumping off the page.
Do you know who I feel like should be in it? The dude from The Last of Us there.
Pedro Pascal.
He'd be good.
He's good in everything.
Who would be like the Happy Madison Productions?
The grown-up screw.
Oh, the grown-up screw? That's what they are now? Maybe we'll do a documentary on that, in or out. Wonder how much they all got paid.
I always like the guys he had in like 50 First Dates and Big Daddy.
Yeah,
like those character actors. Yeah, the Water Boy, the guy sitting in the stands, and like those guys are better.
Or like
than
Dante
Schneider and James.
Dante from Grandma's Boy.
Yes, phenomenal.
You know, and then they're the lawyers in Big Daddy, and and then Grandma's Boy himself, right?
Yeah,
he's the guy who's driving in Wedding Singer.
It's a Happy Madison production. It's just one of the rare ones Sandler isn't in.
I want those guys over the guys that are retreads. How did we get on that? Oh, being relatable.
Everybody hates Chris, yeah.
Oh.
All right, Joe, we'll head to the world of Welch's for this one. Everybody knows Welch's juices, but Welch's has unveiled new spirits-based canned cocktails. Watermelon Mule, Vodka Transfusion, Vodka Cranberry, and Passion Fruit Mojito. Joe, are you in or out on Welch's canned cocktails?
In. You know why? Young Joey Murr would get those Kool-Aid pouches, fill that bad boy up, find the cheapest vodka that you can get somebody would get it for you, by the way. And you just pour that vodka right in there, baby. And you would drink basically green drink with booze. And I did that a lot in my life. Hell, if that Skittles drink was going, pour some into that. You know? By the way, Kevin's not of age yet, so I won't share those stories, but
Kevin's 21.
Oh, you're 21? Yeah, I used to hang outside the liquor store and hey man.
Hey, mister.
Here's some money, go buy some for yourself while you're at it, man. Which I don't advise to anybody in country.
Put that on a t-shirt. I've done it all.
I've done the country what's that? Country Crocker, lemonade, pink, and whatever. I've done the Arnold Palmer. I've done it all. So yeah, any Welch's in. It's gonna taste great. By the way, you ever had the Jack Daniels? They sell them at Fenway. They're like half Jack, half Coke. Or
I've seen them. I don't think I've had. I mean, I've had a Jack.
All right, back here 98.5 The Sports Hub. I'm Joe Murray. Skaz here tonight. Kevin, our intern. And well, a man who was on the grounds last night. His name is Brian Robb. MassLive.com. He's been with us all year long. B-Rob, I know you guys went behind the scenes last night during that Celtics celebration. You still smell like champagne today?
There was a lot of that. It was, I'd tell you, Joe, the combination of champagne and cigar smoke, that's a powerful smell. That's a powerful deodorant right there. And that was heavy in the Celtics locker room last night. And, it was quite the scene. And honestly, it went on all night. Just waves upon waves of players, staff, ownership, coaches, family, friends, just going in and out of there. And they were living it up to the wee hours, and they deserved it after that type of run they had.
That champagne and cigar smell, maybe the Celtics should get in on making a candle and call it red. What do you think?
Possibility. This is why you're a good businessman, Joe. These type of ideas.
Marketing, but champagne and cigars, I mean, that's the way for the Boston Celtics, who've now won 18 championships, the most all-time in NBA history. So we'll get to the game and all that stuff, but after the game, everybody wanted a piece of Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, huh?
Yeah, I mean, those guys were everywhere. And, it's funny, like, they have to do so many interviews, Joe, like, where beyond just, like, going to the podium, they did, talk to, like, NBC Sports Boston, they talked to NBA TV, they talked to, like, international outlets. So, like, Brown and Tatum really didn't hit the Celtics locker room to celebrate hard, I feel like, until 12:30, 1 o'clock. But then they got after in there. They were obviously, Jaylen Brown walked into the locker room to, MVP chants. And Jason Tatum obviously was mobbed as well by the team in there. And, I mean, those for both those guys, for the journey they've had here in Boston, for the highs they hit earlier in their career, and then, to some of the tough lows in the last couple of years, it was a banner postseason for both of them. And Brown very much deserved the MVP, but, Tatum was an absolute stud in Game 5 as well, and I thought he kind of played himself back into MVP contention through that, and they certainly just soaked it all in after the game, and I think you can't imagine just how good it felt for them based on the amount of scrutiny they've had to deal with in particularly the last couple of years.
Did you see the whiteboard in the locker room and what it said? And Danny Ainge, right, talked about the Celtics winning. I mean, Al Horford brought up the impact of Danny Ainge's fingerprints are all over this thing.
Yeah, no, I had to, just kind of reach out because I do think that it is the anecdote that Al Horford had last night about how that line from Ainge when he was recruiting him back in 2016, like there's nothing like winning in Boston, and how that still stood out to him, 8 years later here was staggering. But Ainge's fingerprints are all over this thing, whether it's Brad Stevens, Joe Mazzulla, Tatum, Brown, originally bringing in Horford, even a guy like Peyton Pritchard. That was what Danny Ainge's last draft pick in Boston before he stepped aside there. So he definitely, talking to him on the phone, like he clearly did not want to take any credit for this, just wanted to credit those guys, Brad and Joe, for what they've built, and essentially saying, like, yeah, these guys were going to find success no matter where they ended up. And, like, he always had confidence in them there. But a lot of things went right. Brad Stevens hit all these trades to kind of add the right supplemental pieces around Brown and Tatum. But to be honest, Joe, like, Ainge is the tough part. Like, getting Tatum and Brown in place to be able to, A, get those picks, and B, just nail those picks the way he did when there weren't necessarily slam dunks in terms of who they should pick, certainly not with the Jaylen Brown pick. That said a lot, and now, a few years down the line, he gets to see it all come together.
How many teams do you think trade their, franchise stars, acquire first-round picks, and then acquire future Hall of Famers and win championships? You don't see it much in the NBA anymore.
No. I mean, to thread the needle the way they did, where they had what? They pretty much had one bad year, Joe. Like coming out, like Brad Stevens' first year, that was the 1 year where it's like, okay, that was the reset button. A lot of these teams take 3, 4, or 5 years of trying to tank and make the right picks, whatever. When they go through the downswing, the Celtics did none of that. They were able to build and then also add to their treasure chest of draft picks along the way, get back to a contender in the East by 2017, 2018, just a few years after KG and Pierce departed, and now, kept on getting knocked down the mountain, but finally made it to the top here, 6 years later with keeping that core in place. And the fact, I think you also give credit to Danny Ainge and Brad Stevens here, all the temptation to maybe move Jaylen Brown for one of these, for Paul George, Jimmy Butler, Kawhi Leonard in the last, 3, 4, 5 years ago, even Kevin Durant in recent years. They held firm on being like, we believe in this guy for the long term, and he certainly made that bet pay dividends during this playoff run.
All right, talking to Brian Robb of Mass Live. I want to give Cerrone Battle some credit for this take, and I wanted to get your thoughts on it. Do you think that if they did win against Miami last year and went to the finals, whether they won or lost, whatever, but if they don't lose, do you think they make the changes this year, or do you think they would have made changes no matter what if they went to the finals or won the finals or not?
That's a really good question. No, I do think losing forced their hand on that front. Clearly, if they win in the finals last year, if they somehow pull off that comeback, you're not making as dramatic changes as you are. But I think they're in that organization. They've been throwing around for a while, but like, okay, is this time to move on from Marcus Smart and give the keys to the car to Tatum and Brown officially? Because that wasn't really able to happen as long as Smart here, because Smart, was here for a couple years longer and thought of himself as a de facto captain behind the scenes there for a while. And so it became clear that it was a, on the court issue as well, in terms of like they needed clearly some additional scoring in the front court after the way the Heat had defended against them for the last couple of years there. And now once they fell down 3-0 in that series, and clearly like they could have just said, oh, Tatum got hurt in Game 7, like let's just figure it out, run it back here. But they were like, no, we need to let Brown and Tatum have their day. We need to give more opportunity to Derek White, and we need to find some help in the front court. And for them to get Porzingis, and then for Drew Holiday to shake free on top of that as the final little cherry on top of the super team they put together. I think that was, I'm with, like, where did Cerrone stand on that front? Was he on that?
We feel as though if they didn't lose, like they almost needed that to happen, right? I mean,
right?
They lost, they retooled, they supported Joe Mazzulla, they gave him his own staff. Brad Stevens had the ability to go out and make the moves to make the team better because he's had boots on the ground, right? He knows the organization, knows the team. It's just that a blessing in disguise, ho-hum. They could have gone to 3 NBA finals in a row, but now they're NBA champions, and I think everything that happened last year, them coming back and it fueled them to win a championship this year.
100%. Like the motivation from these guys from top to bottom, especially a guy like Jaylen Brown who got paid as like literally the biggest contract in NBA history, and to come back this season the way he did, skipping no steps, pretty much being wire to wire the best team in the league, and putting together one of the best playoff runs in franchise history. That's the type of stuff that, puts them in the history books right now. And so the question is, how do they respond to this now, Joe? Like, they've done it. They get the monkey off their back. But now, do they still have that same push, that same desire next year? Or do they take their foot off the gas a little bit? Given the nature of these guys, I would very much expect them to come back just as hungry. But it is going to be a fascinating dynamic here now, because it is having the fuel that they had after that Game 7. It's going to be tough to recreate that, even when you're hungry for another title.
Hey, B-Rob, I know you had a chance to, your team had a chance to catch up with Danny Ainge. You should think about catching up with Ime Udoka. How do you think he feels right now?
Yeah, that's a really good question, Joe. It's Yeah, I don't know. I don't think the Houston Rockets are going to be getting to the getting out of the first round.
Unless Amen Thompson's the man or something happens there, right?
But yeah, that's talk about blown opportunities on that front. Obviously, pretty big mistakes made on his part over time. But that team loved, like the players on that team clearly loved him and went to bat for him.
Yep.
During his 1 year here, and that could have been the start of something special for him. And he certainly was going to be the coach of the future after that 1 year, after taking him to the finals, after that turnaround. But now it's Joe Mazzulla's time. And Ime, I guess, I'll look for him in Vegas, Joe. That's probably where my best chance. Most coaches are popping around there during summer league. So I'm sure he will be asked about that, and I'll be very curious to see. I'm sure he'll praise the players, but in his head, that's one that I'm sure stings for him a little bit. But that's, he created that problem himself.
He did it to himself. So are they going to announce the extension, the Supermax of Jason Tatum and Derek White? Are they going to do all this? I know Wick already announced Horford's back. So is that all going to happen at the parade this week?
You're right. Yeah, the Tatum extension I expect to happen whenever Tatum wants it to happen. I'm sure that was waiting for him, on the court last night after that game ended, once NBA, free agency officially started, with teams now can talk to their own players right away in free agency, which is a fun little twist ahead of the official start on June 30th. The Derek White extension is the interesting one, since I assume both sides want to get it done, but the urgency isn't there as much. He still has the 1 year left, and I don't know if the Celtics are going to eventually be able to afford everyone here. If they get, especially since Derek White has played himself into a pretty hefty deal here. Like, I don't know, does he deserve more money than Drew Holiday at this point, Joe, do you think?
No.
Given how good he's been during this playoff run?
No. No. But can he make more money in free agency or staying with the Celtics?
I bet he can make more in free agency, to be honest. That's a situation where he hasn't gotten his massive deal before. I mean, the deal he's on right now is like a 4 year, $72-74 million contract, which is a lot. But now he's set to make, I think, at least probably close to $30 million a year.
Yeah, $150 million for Derek White. I love him. He does everything. I think he does all that stuff on a great team.
Right.
Not saying he's a bad player by any means. I just think his intangibles. That was one of the things we asked Greenie earlier. We said, "Hey, what do you think was the biggest move of the season?" His answer was putting Derek White in the starting lineup.
That was a big one out of the gate last summer, because even when Malcolm Brogdon was still on the team in July after they traded Smart, Joe Mazzulla just voluntarily told that to us in a press conference at Jaylen Brown's Supermax signing, and I was like, "Whoa, okay." It was clear that by moving Smart out, that was part of the equation of they trusted in White, but to just put it out front and center like that kind of set the tone. And clearly White has talked about to us how much he felt, enabled by Joe's confidence in him. And he clearly played above and beyond the best basketball of his career this year, and is just a perfect fit as the glue guy in this team, both offensively and defensively to this point. And so I think, Joe, he's a perfect guy to have on a team, on a really good team like this, from an intangible standpoint. And so you wonder how much the rest of the league values him if they sign him, give him that kind of money to be the number 2 or number 3 on the team. I'm not sure he's cut out for that, but certainly on this Celtics team as the number 4, number 5 option around a couple All-Stars, that is a nightmare matchup for opponents.
I mean, Greg Popovich had him on the bench. What does that guy know? You know what I mean?
Right.
Jeez, what does he know? All right, B-Rob. So what do you got going on the rest of this week? You guys going to be at the parade? What do you got going on there? Oh, you're going to be at the, what do you got? College kids coming in tomorrow too, right?
Yeah, the Celtics are back doing workouts. We got the draft in 1 week, Joe. We got a quick turnaround here. So we'll be breaking that down on Mass Live, getting into the free agency scene. There's a few important names on the Celtics bench to keep an eye on there. Keep an eye on who can they attract now that they look like they are going to be entering as favorites for next season. Will they be able to land a big name or two on veteran minimum contracts? We'll dive into that as well. And yeah, the all over the parade will be no rest here yet, Joe. No rest until maybe August.
No days off. He's Brian Robb of Mass Live. Great job, B-Rob, all season long. Appreciate you always joining us here. And I'm sure we'll catch up around the draft time. And excellent coverage by you and your team over at Mass Live. You guys absolutely crushed it this basketball season, no doubt.
Appreciate it, Joe. You and Cerrone as well in the post games. Listening to you guys on the way home all season long. It's been great stuff. So always fun to be on with you, and look forward to doing it all off season long as well.
We'll do it again. Go wash that clothes and take a shower.
Don't smell like cigar in here. It's going to take a while.
I like it. All right, he's Brian Robb, who smells like champagne and cigars, and I feel like they should make a candle and call it red, but make it green. That's what I think that they should do. All right, I got the ratings for you for the NBA Finals. Curious what people think about this one. We'll get into that coming up next. I'm Joe Murray here on 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Sports Hub headlines.
Well, the Reds. Sports Hub. Got the musings coming up in a bit. But the ratings are out for the NBA Finals. The Celtics and Dallas Mavericks won't go down as a classic, says, I'm reading from Awful Announcing. Whatever. They say the finals weren't much to talk about, but it was the least watched NBA Finals since 2007. Only the COVID-era series were lower than this. They were down 3% in viewership from last year. Only the 2021 NBA, as we mentioned. The 2024 NBA playoffs were down significantly from 2023. They went to they were down 11%. Why do you think that is, Skaz? Is it hard to find them? Or star power? Or what is it?
I mean, I'm sure people will blame the Celtics' dominance, but I think part of it is Dallas, too. I mean, Luka's marketable and he's a huge star, but only if you're like a real NBA, fan. Like Jokic last year, I think the ratings were a little better than this, but nothing crazy. So, yeah, I think it's the Celtics steamrolled everybody. It was, as Scott Van Pelt said, it was kind of boring the way they just took care of business all season long, and the Mavericks didn't really put up a fight.
So they were down, but they were still the leaders for all the ratings all 5 nights. So all 5 NBA Finals games were number 1 in the 18 to 34 demographic. Oh, is that what TV does? 18 to 34? Oh.
Must be nice.
Wow, it's great. Radio's 25 to 54. And thank you to our listeners. We're the highest rated here. 25 to 54. And wow, 18 to 34. We're the young demographic likes the night show. Thank you to everybody who's listening to YouTube, on YouTube, chatting in with us as well. It's been great. It's been fun. And we're going to keep it going all summer long here. Let's just take a quick call. We got Ada and Palmer. Hey, Ada.
Hi, how you guys doing? I'm sorry, I lost my voice last night at the game.
Me too.
It was epic. I have a question for you guys.
Yes.
Okay, my question is, do you guys think the Celtics lost the game in Dallas purposely just because they wanted to win at home?
I don't, Ada, but you know what? It does seem like when they came home, they knew that it was going to end it. They had a message on the board that had a flight to Miami to celebrate. So I don't think they threw in the towel, but I do think that they had a better advantage at home.
Okay, it was epic. I was there. It was so much fun. It was unbelievable, and we were ready for this. So thank you, guys.
Repeat. Got to do it again.
Oh, we will next year. Oh, we will. Oh, for sure.
Thanks, Ada. Appreciate you coming.
You're welcome. Bye-bye.
Palmer. It's out there, huh? Jeez. We're reaching everybody. You know where Palmer, Mass is, Kevin, our intern? No shot. I think it's like out near Sturbridge. I don't know. I'm not going to look it up on a map now. But I feel like it's out that way. This area, you know what area when someone tells me they're like near Leominster, I'm like, forget it. You know? Like whenever I get someone mentions any of those towns to me and I'm out. Like if you're like, hey, Joe, where do I get to eat near Leominster? Sorry. I got nothing for you. I think Iron Bine's from out there, right? Or further out. Oh, Brokerage Babe says she doesn't fit the demographic. I don't understand. Oh, it's past Sturbridge. Iron Bites. I know he's listening.
It's like Six Flags country out there.
Oh, it's really that far?
I think so. Like Ludlow.
Like, whoa, that's past my jurisdiction. Anything
Belchertown.
I will say this. Anything probably past Charlton, I'm out.
You're GPS Joe, though.
I can get you anywhere, though. You need somewhere to go. I'll tell you how to go. I'll tell you where to stop on the way, too. Where to go. Speaking of that, we got the musings, and that's coming up next here on 98.5 The Sports Hub.
More Joe Murray coming up on The Sports Hub.
You want a random take? Murray's got all sorts on stuff in the world unrelated to sports. So sit back, relax, and get your mind in the game and listen to the words of a grown man complaining.
Bad news earlier today. Willie Mays passed away at the age of 93. And I saw this, and I had nothing to do with any of these. Normally, I'm the iconic figure. Postseason history in 1954. I did a story on him when I was in school. And he used to play stickball with the local kids in Brooklyn, and I absolutely loved that. So I wanted to. I'm glad, Skaz. I'm glad to be back in studio. It's been an interesting couple of nights on the road. Joe on the go. I have to get this one out though. Maybe you didn't understand it last night when I was telling you this, but on Friday, we were at the TGI Fridays in Stoughton. And let's just say a lot of people were coming up to me, talking to me during the break. So there can be times where, like, my headset's on, but I'm just not paying attention. But that's not my fault. And I apologize. And I am not sorry because I feel like I should have known, but I didn't. But last night, so I kind of realized something about myself when it comes to wearing my headset. I'm a one ear on, one ear off guy. Right? So, Skaz, do you see what earpiece you have on, though?
Yeah, so I rotate, but I do the same thing. So, like, I have Kevin on my right, so a lot of the times I'll go right side off, but it's more comfortable, I think, to have the left side off, but I'm the same way. I do one on, one off.
So I'm left on, right off. Last night, listen, we had engineers everywhere last night, and I'm like, I got it, guys, don't worry about it, you know? So last night, I could only hear you out of my right ear. Well, when I do the show, what ear is not on? But I can hear you in my left ear talking to whoever's at the stage at the Garden. So last night, again, the technical issue, I'll take the heat. But it was funny because I'm like, these guys must be really aggravated with me. So I apologize, but I'm not sorry.
No, we had no issues last night.
Okay, just want to make sure.
Yeah, no, it was. Shout out Dennis, Tyler, Jim. Everybody was fantastic last night. So remotes can be a little tricky, but no, it was everything was seamless.
No, honest to God, it was everybody. But oh man, last night, one ear on, one ear off, bro. I learned the hard way on that one. Now tonight I've been locked in on both now. What else did I want to talk about? Oh. Anyone get the 911 alert today?
The lack of 911 alert.
You didn't get one?
No, I said like the lack, like there was no 911 for a little
So
while.
here's the deal. I have shut off my emergencies. I've shut off my Amber alerts as well.
I think I'm out on that.
No, listen, do you remember what happened when they said a tsunami was coming or whatever and it was a false alarm?
Yeah.
I don't want to know.
Yeah, well, you could be a good Samaritan maybe in one of these situations.
No, I'm home. It's hot. I don't want to move.
Driving into work, get an alert, maybe
get an alert.
Eyes peeled for a license plate number or something.
Do you know what 911 doesn't work means? Joey Murda went right to my brain. Oh, what's going to happen now?
It's the purge.
Who's going to steal what? See, Kevin, look at Kevin. He's smiling back there too. That's the first thing I thought. Why did I do that first? Why did I think
Joey Murda?
But like, I feel like that's what it invites, right?
You're just tipping off the the hooligans.
For real? Nobody else thought that? Nobody else thought about 911 doesn't work. Are we safe?
Yeah, I mean, I think of course that's like one of the first places your mind goes, but did we ever figure out what was wrong with 911? Because that's more concerning to me. Why did it go down?
If we can't use a phone, because what happens if we can't use our phone? What do? We got to run to that pole? A little fire pole thing? What is that called? Who's ever used that white box in their fire box? And granted, I'm glad we have them, and thank you for your service. Who's used it? Come on. Where's my local one anyways? Amber's alert is wild. I don't want the notification because I don't want to be told. If it's the end, don't tell me. I got one more for you today. Did anybody see Justin Timberlake's mugshot? Ear stuff? I mean,
Team Britney.
I know that she's not. I mean, he's in the Hamptons. He's on Molly. He's doing all sorts of things.
Get a driver. How easy is it? You guys got more money than God.
How the hell is somebody doing drugs who's a superstar in the Hamptons? He'll be arraigned. He dined at the American Hotel on Monday. He was headed to a friend's home when he was pulled over.
Sounds like he did a little more than dine. I might call shenanigans on that.
The report was he was loaded with everything. He was intoxicated. He had, whoa, man, you want to talk about bloodshot eyes? Oh, boy. He's all flooded the news because of Britney. And now he's doing all sorts of drugs when she's not around. And the Hamptons without her. I mean, he was going to a friend's house. Who was the friend? What friend's house was he going to now? No. You got any scaz off the bat while I pull up this list?
Joe, it's a drill I did many times in my youth. I'm sure you did it as well, but it is one George Mikan's birthday today. The Mikan drill, something that I don't miss at all.
The Mikan drill. Been there, done that. How old?
George Mikan was born on this day in 1924. Would have been 100 years old today.
Somebody famous, Paul McCartney. Know him?
Heard of him. Kevin, you know who that is?
Does Kevin know who he is?
Yeah, Kevin knows who he is.
Good. Thank God.
Getting a documentary on him soon.
82 years old. Did you know that he was in Pirates of the Caribbean?
No, I did not know that.
I didn't know that either.
I think Keith Richards was in one of them. I think.
Isabella Rossellini is 72 years old today. Blake Shelton, 48. He's with Gwen now? Weird. She went from Gavin Rosdale to him. Richard Madden is 38 years old. Scooter Braun, 43 years old.
Martin St. Louis or St.
Martin
Louis
St.
as
Louis.
Yes.
I'll never forget that one. Anybody else? That's really it.
Joe, are you familiar with one Vito Lagrasso, American professional wrestler, listed on?
Big Vito.
Big Vito.
Yeah,
okay.
I know it is.
Well, it's his birthday today.
Big Vito style. Okay. Antonio Gates, future Hall of Famer.
Jeff Saturday, another future Hall of Famer, probably.
Donovan Mitchell's going to go to Miami anyways. And it's going to boot Jimmy Butler out, and then he's going to end up with the Lakers, and they're going to suck. How's that for a storybook ending? Anything else today, guys?
Yeah, we got one more birthday. How about Roger Ebert, American film critic?
2 thumbs up.
2 thumbs up.
Backstreet's back, all right. Backstreet Boys always over NSYNC, says Kevin. So he said it's okay to turn those back on. Listen, I don't want your alert. If the end is coming, I don't want to know about it. I watched that movie with Leonardo DiCaprio. What was that called again? Where like the world was going to end and he freaked out about it and was trying to tell everybody. Or a big meteor. Something was coming.
Are we talking like Inception? What are we talking
about? No. The Leo movie where he's like,
oh, Don't Look Up?
Don't look up at the final hour of the night show here. More Celtics reaction. As we're here until 11 o'clock, I'm Joe Murray here in the Sports Hub.
From the Town Fair Tire Studios, this is the flagship station of the world champion Boston Celtics.
White is just back into the corner for three.
WBZ-FM and HD Bus 98.5, the Sports Hub, a Beasley Media Group station. Sports Hub headlines.
The Celtics are NBA champions. They're going to have a parade on Friday. So that's cool. The Red Sox won 4-3 tonight in a comeback fashion. Tyler O'Neill tied the game with an 8th-inning home run, and then Ceddanne Rafaela had a RBI single, the go-ahead run. They win 4-3 tonight. Tanner Houck, 5 innings, 5 strikeouts. They've won 4 in a row. Kenley Jansen closed the door. We might have to start talking Red Sox. Oof. Oilers They lead right now 4-2 over the Florida Panthers. They trail 3-1 in the series. Headlines, they are brought to you by Awaken 180 Weight Loss. Don't put off losing weight this summer. Reach your goal during the easiest season for weight loss. Awaken 180, the official weight loss partner of summer. I'm Joe Murray. Next update, 30 minutes.
No matter where you go, you're always connected to Boston sports with the 98.5 The Sports Hub app. Download it wherever you get your apps today.
All right, final hour here, 98.5 The Sports Hub. I'm Joe Murray. Skaz is here. We have been going a long time. I was here Sunday. I'm sure Skaz was watching that U.S. Open, by the way. What'd you think of that? I watched it. I watched the entire end of it, and I watched choke jobs left and right.
I was going to say, as someone who was financially invested in Bryson and not a big Roy McIlroy guy, it was a great ending for me personally. But yeah, the story is Rory just choking away another major, and that probably his most heartbreaking loss yet. And he's had a couple of them at this point, but you got to think it's mental at this point.
So, do you credit Bryson DeChambeau for hanging around, or do you?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the bunker shot he hit on 18 was incredible. I saw some statistics on it that there's like a 3% chance of him hitting it that close. So, I mean, they had Johnson Wagner, who I know you're not a big golf guy, but he is a former pro. He's still technically a pro, but he does after every tournament now, it's one of the small great things that the golf media does is they send him out on the course to try and reenact these shots, and he's actually gotten the yips a couple times, legit yips.
Because of how hard it is.
And just because the pressure, everything, it just shows how human these guys are. And he did it his first attempt. He put it, basically way past the hole. And then Bryson actually showed up, walked into the bunker with him, and Johnson Wagner ended up hitting it to like 3 feet. But that's with no crowd and his second attempt. So, yeah, I mean, got to give Bryson a ton of credit. He did stumble a little bit down the stretch, but that's what you want in a U.S. Open. You want bad shots to be penalized. And I think if there's any takeaway, if you're a golf purist, Bryson hit the least amount of fairways of anyone in the field on Sunday, and he still won. So maybe, his length and, the quote unquote carnage at Pinehurst wasn't enough because he wasn't hitting fairways and he wasn't really being penalized as strongly as guys usually are for missing fairways in a U.S. Open.
I thought he had an incredible shot from the trap. That was how he won the tournament on that one.
Yeah, he had to get up and down.
But star power too, right? At the top of the tournament.
If you told the PGA Tour a couple years ago that the biggest name they would be missing is Bryson DeChambeau, I think a lot of guys would have laughed at that, scoffed at it, because Bryson was kind of a caricature of himself, and he's really embraced it, and he's talked personally about how he didn't get it at first when he was, becoming a celebrity or a professional athlete, where, he didn't understand all the cameras and, every little thing he would do would be scrutinized. But I think Bryson's grown on a lot of people. He's one hell of a golfer, 2-time U.S. Open champ. Can't take that away from him. And he's really good for golf. And the tour does miss him. They miss him more than they miss, Brooks Koepka and Dustin Johnson, these other guys, because I like Brooks and I like Dustin Johnson, but they're boring. They're probably the two most boring guys that the tour had, because they just show up in majors. They finish top 10 all year, especially Dustin Johnson. And
is Rory becoming boring?
No, I think it's almost.
He's almost like Phil. Remember how Phil was great, but would always late. You always kind of, I don't want to say choky, but
it depends on what side you're on. I think a lot of golf fans, there's like a bit of schadenfreude in watching Rory, get there and then kind of fail. Or if you're a Rory diehard, which, there are a lot of them out there, you're hoping that he can finally break through again. But yeah, he's getting up there in age. He's not old by any means. He's played some of the best golf of his career the last couple of years, but no majors to show for it. And that's the real stinger. That's what people are going to remember. He has a couple early in his career. I mean, he has a decent amount early in his career, but not winning one in 10 years with how well he's played, it has to be a mental thing.
Well, shout out to our buddy Sammy P. He gave us Scotty Scheffler and the Celtics money line to win the series as a nice little parlay. So, thank you, sir. And DeChambeau was, was he? Well, Cantlay was leading the whole thing. I don't know how it was the last. Oh, he had a three-stroke lead at the end. Final day, at least, and then blew it. So, I liked it. I enjoyed the U.S. Open. It was a great Father's Day watching.
Yeah, that's the best part about
Put it on in the
US
background.
Open,
I
Father's
napped.
Day,
Oh, incredible.
out.
I napped, and then I watched. Oh, it's great napping the golf, let me tell you. One of the best sports to watch, that and bowling. Alex and Gardner. Hi, Alex.
Joe, I called in and I roasted you about a Kristaps Porzingis Al Horford take the other day, and I gotta say, you said you'd take Al Horford over 50% Kristaps, and you're right, bro. When you're right, you're right.
Thanks, Alex. How do you feel?
Gotta give it to you.
How do you feel?
I feel terrible. I feel terrible about roasting you.
Well, I mean, did you think I don't know my stuff, or you just wanted to just think that you knew what you were talking about?
I thought I knew what I was talking about, Joe, and like always, you know what you're talking about.
Well, I've been doing this for almost 20 years, man.
You're the big cat, bro.
No, somebody else is the big cat, not me.
I love you, man.
All right, bro. Where is Gardner? It's out there, right? That's another one of those.
Yeah, Central Mass, brother.
Yeah, man. It's too far for me, man. I can't do that. Palmer. Athol. What the hell's that? Oh, JP's in North Providence. I know where that is.
Joe, Skaz. Joe, let me tell you, that bet last night was maybe the easiest bet in the world. Thank you, Celtics. You paid for my little trip up to Newburyport. And, Joe, thank you for the advice.
How was it? What did you do?
When I saw the point and it had a Y in it, man, we kept going right by that place. I could already tell it was out of my budget when they stuck the Y in the middle of that
Well,
name.
I asked you, did you go 5-star, or you said she was worth
she
it?
was listening, Joe. I couldn't say nothing. She was in her car listening.
Okay.
She listens to the show. I tell her I'm famous. Thank you. But she listens, and so I had to play it up a little. We ended up at the Black Cow. It was great.
Oh, okay. Yep. Not
up
nice
on
place.
the deck.
Oh, you
went
went
nice
deck style.
chili.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, no tables. Went right up the deck. It was fantastic, Joe. Had a great time.
Did you keep going down to Plum Island?
We didn't make it to Plum Island. We walked around all the shops, did a little bit of shopping, some resale stuff. Had a great time. Thank you for the tip, though.
You trendy dog, you.
Oh, I go, Joe, you give me a tip, I'm listening. Unlike the other callers, if Joe says it, it's Joe knows. And I got to tell you, if the world's ending, here's how it's going. They're in a Joe show on a Saturday morning talking about pizza toppings. It's the only way we're going.
I don't want to wake up on Saturday mornings and do radio anymore.
Well, you could do a Sunday with, maybe you do a Sunday.
I did it with Cerrone this week.
I know. I call in, Joe.
Oh, that's right. I remember that now. You asked me.
You gave me the tips, but hey, great job last night bringing it home with
man.
broadcasting and everything, Joe. Appreciate it.
We're trying to bring it home, right? You got a Justin Timberlake take?
Oh yeah, do you know Kicks 108 is raffling tickets off? They're giving tickets away this week. How good is that in the sales department? It's perfect.
Thank you.
I'm used to the Bruins losing, but somebody's calling out Joe Murray sucks at his job. Go bleep yourself, whoever that was. Are you kidding me?
JP's loyal, man. These callers are loyal. All right, well, let's take a break. We're in the final stretch here. Man, what a long night last night. How much sleep did you get last night, Skaz?
I think I got into bed around 5:30, 6 o'clock. Probably woke up around 10:30, and then I try to take like an hour nap before the show. I'm doing all right, though. I'll get a full 8 tonight, and I'll be ready to go.
You've worked in construction before.
I've worked overnights, worked construction.
I've worked at McDonald's, and I've worked at tech companies and in the car business. So I've done harder jobs in my life, more tired and more hungover, even though I didn't drink last night. But I feel like I drank champagne and smoked cigars all night last night. That's how my throat feels, at least. All right, I got to go to break. Listen to 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Don't go anywhere. There's more Joe Murray.
Jaylen Brown followed. Derek White, Drew Holiday, best backcourt in the finals. Remember? It was supposed to be Kyrie and Luka Doncic. By the way, Kyrie, 15 points in a closeout game. Al Horford wins his first NBA championship. He played tremendous defense, whether it was on the bench or as a starter. And Kristaps Porzingis down for most of the playoffs. He stepped right in with no problem. Speaking of Porzingis, he played despite his injury, and I thought he made an impact. Played in the post, stretched the floor. They out-rebounded Dallas 51-38 last night. Sam Hauser shot 48% from three in the finals. And he played really good defense. Peyton Pritchard would continue with big shots and hit that big half quarter yesterday. And I had a big one. Played 4 seconds and had that big shot before the end of the half. They closed out quarters. They closed out halves. They won the assist battle 25-18. They shot the ball better. They let in the steals. They got to the line more. They outcoached and outclassed Dallas, led by their star players. Everyone else filled in, played their role. And it was a great response after one of the biggest blowouts in NBA history. No one will remember that now. All they will remember is the 2024 Celtics, led by Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, who are now NBA champions. And it might be just their first one. Jason Tatum officially becomes the sixth champion in history to lead his team in playoff points, rebounds, assists, joining LeBron, Bird, Jokic, Hakeem, and Tim Duncan. Whoa. That's a list right there. By the way, the Mavs scored less than 100.7 times in 82 games. The Celtics kept them under 104 times in 5 games. So, Luka and Kyrie, people called them the greatest offensive backcourt of all time. What do you call the defense that stopped them then? Just asking. Andrew's in the car. Andrew.
Hey, Joe. Just came back from celebrating 14 years married to my wife, Jackie, in the North End. The ratatouille at LeConte's was one of the best things I've ever eaten in my life. You got to check that out. Go Celts.
Ratatouille, huh?
Are you in or you out?
Well, I'm in, but tell me what else. What'd you get for a side? What kind of cream did it have?
Caprese salad. It was solid.
Oh.
But the ratatouille, I've never had it before. I just seen the movie because of my kids. But it was incredible.
Anything else for dessert?
We got a gelato from a place around the corner. Strawberry. Dulce. That's my wife, Jackie. She really likes it when I put her on the radio without telling her what's happening.
Hey, Jackie. How you doing?
How you doing?
How's it going?
Good. How you doing?
Are you excited?
Great.
14 years, huh?
Yeah, 14 years.
You happy?
Yep, so happy. We're elated.
She's thrilled.
Now what?
We're driving back to Southborough. Nothing too crazy.
Southborough? That's a good ride back. You just
my wife was a little upset.
Why?
She was born in Gardner. She didn't really like that you were saying it wasn't a cool town.
Well, listen, you're in the North End. I grew up 14 minutes down the street, so where the hell would I ever know Gardner?
That's true, man.
Can I take a train there?
No. No, you can't.
All right, well, this is the only time we allow two people talking at once.
The Joe Show, uniting couples across Greater New England.
I mean, they're going to be going on 15 years soon. You know?
You're a married man. Joe, is 14 a big one? Is that a big one?
I don't know. How do I know?
You've been married, 5, 6 years?
I don't know, but 14 years?
I don't know if I've done anything in my life for 14 straight years.
I've done radio for 17 years, and geez, I just got hired a year ago. Literally. That doesn't sound promising, Kevin, does it? Been in radio for 17 years and finally got hired a year later. Year 16, man, I'm telling you. It's the year. Ooh. Our buddy Jared, the Cathedral of Boston guy. How are you?
Joe, how's it going?
So before we get into the Celtics, I wanted to ask you what you thought about this new movie with Matt Damon and Casey Affleck. It looks like a spinoff of The Town.
I actually have no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah, man. There's going to be a new movie with Matt Damon and Casey Affleck, and they're going to be doing odd jobs around the city.
Okay. I'll have to invest in that and see what I can pull from it.
Yeah, I just wanted to know what the Cathedral Boston guy thought of that type of concept.
The concept is phenomenal, obviously, outside the fact that it sounds like a spinoff, which I don't like.
Out.
What else? Out on spinoffs, to be honest with you.
What else you got?
My main point is I think we got a new franchise in the city. This Celtics team's got 1 or 2 more championships in them. We got a couple more years of parades coming in our future. As Fergie would say, the Red Sox are terrible. So therefore, we have a new cathedral in. As Fergie would say, let me repeat that.
Yeah, we go do it.
There's a new.
Go ahead, do it again.
The new cathedral is the TD Garden.
The cathedral is a TD Garden.
Right.
And what Fergie tell? Never mind. I'm a line stepper, Skaz.
So is Jared. So I know what I was getting into there. Love you, mean it, as one Mike Felger would say, but we've stretched that rope a couple times and it's bitten us.
Just like Jason Kidd said,
don't let go of the rope.
Don't let go of the rope.
Joe loves letting go of the rope.
It's 10:35.
They're testing the waters.
It's only Tuesday, man. It's only Tuesday. Like, are we just going to melt for the rest of the week?
That's what the forecast says.
We're just going to melt. The heat drives me crazy because everybody's all in a bad attitude, right? Everyone's complaining about the heat, right? Everybody's the thing about summer is this. You're only comfortable when you're at the beach. There are people who don't like the beach. That's fine. But I'm in the water at the beach. So when you tell me it's hot, I'm in the water. What do I know? I'm in there. You can bake all you want in the sun. I'm in there. But, man, in the summer, everybody's miserable, right? Everybody. You work outside, Kevin? Did you work outside today? Yeah?
Yeah, I've found Kevin sleeping in his car before work. Don't blame him one bit working outside in these 90-degree days.
But everybody's miserable when it's hot. You're sticky. You got sweat in weird places. Right? Everyone's miserable. And sometimes you need a backup shirt. Or skivvies, I
was nervous.
Sometimes you just need a backup pair. Things get sweaty. Well, have your final headline of the night coming up now at 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Sports Hub headlines.
I was really trying hard not to say something, and I didn't.
Afternoons right now. Joe Murray on the Sports Hub.
And here's what I'm going to tell you today. I got the Dallas Mavericks.
I think there's going to be a parade in Dallas.
Who'd you guys really beat, though? Who'd you really beat?
I have Dallas. I think Dallas will win.
So obviously I'm going with Dallas.
Dallas. I got Dallas winning. I think Dallas is deeper.
I don't think Boston's deep at all.
I like Dallas in this series.
It's an easy choice for me. Dallas.
The Boston Celtics have not seen anything close to what Dallas Mavericks are going to. The best players on this floor will be Luka and Kyrie.
Just a very good team that could get to the finals but won't win it.
But it's no longer what could be or what might be. Now it just is.
And then watching this past week when Boston sweeps Dallas or something like that, we got to sit here and be like, well, I guess we were wrong.
You're wrong about the Mavs. Celtics have been this team all year long. They are who we thought they were, everybody.
If you want to crown them, then crown their ass. But they are who we thought they were.
The Celtics outscored the Mavs by 66 points from 3. And the Celtics didn't even shoot well from 3. How about that, Scass? People want to talk about the threes.
Yeah, I thought Luka was awful last night. And obviously it's not going to get talked about a bunch because the Celtics won. They're the story. They should be the story. Tatum and Brown getting over the hump should be the I don't think it was that close this year.
Luka had 68 threes in 22 games. Derek White, 65 and 19. White shot 40% and was awesome on the catch and shoot. He also is the first point guard to lead the NBA championships in playoff blocks in league history. Wow, one of the best blockers in history. And Drew Holiday was absolutely outstanding. We're making the case, huh? I'm saying it. This might be one of the best teams of all time. And you won't know it now, right? You won't know it. You won't know it now. Like, think of some of the things they did. They went 26-0 when they held teams under 100, and they went 15-0 when they made more threes than their opponent. Teams overall were 16-17 in the NBA this year when they won the three-point field goal column. The Celtics used the three ball more than any other champ ever. They dominated. They dominated in all aspects, and if you look at it going forward here, you know, we'll look back and say there was 4 Hall of Famers on this team, and who knows what Mazzulla is, right? If he wins more championships, he goes to the Hall of Fame. What about Porzingis if he can stay healthy? About Derek White's future? All these things are there. Right now, some people are downplaying the path or the story. All I can tell you right now is this team right now might be considered one of the greatest of all time. We got one more segment to go here at 617-779-0985. I'm Joe Murray. We'll wrap things up here on the other side on 98.5 The Sports Hub.
More Joe Murray coming up on The Sports Hub. Everybody knows Joe.
Just keeps getting better.
Joe Murray on 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Man, what are we going to do once the Celtics is over, Skaz? Is it going to be talking about the Red Sox?
Yeah, we'll have some Olympic basketball to talk about with a couple Celtics on that team. I'm sure we'll mix in some Red Sox. Might have to get Milliken on the night show.
Yeah.
Patriots training camp right around the corner.
Oh, yeah. You know, it starts in 5 weeks, dude. That's it.
Jeremy Conley was telling me last night. He hasn't forgotten.
5 more. So that's it. Like for me, I gotta take it all in the next 5 weeks, and then I'll take it at the end of the year, and that's
it. That's the plan.
So we'll have more reaction. You know, I'm curious what that bar bill is going to be in Miami tonight. Are they at the Cleveland there? Where do you think they go? Ooh, like the Edition Hotel, something nice. Ooh. Wonder if they make it out to South Beach. All I can think of is Will Smith. It's my second Will Smith reference of the night. How's that hockey game looking? I don't have it on the TV.
Edmonton just scored an empty netter with 17 seconds left to make it 5-3. We are getting a game 6 back in Edmonton.
Anybody nervous? How about the people in Florida? Or the Miami fans, I should say, that called us and trolled us after they beat not only the Bruins, but the Celtics last year. And we did some math earlier on the show. The Miami Heat have gone to 2 NBA Finals over the last couple of years and have 0 championships. The Boston Celtics have gone to 2 NBA championships and have won 1. So therefore, I declare the Celtics being more successful than the Miami Heat. Does that sound right, Skaz?
I would say that is correct, Joe.
Who is the better team going forward, the Celtics or the Miami Heat?
Well, let's look at it. Let's be objective here, as we always preach. Objectivity. We like to call it how we see it. An aging Jimmy Butler,
34,
who has never won anything.
Bam Adebayo, who certainly can't do it by himself. And Jaime Jaquez?
Or 26-year-old Jason Tatum, 27-year-old Jaylen Brown, who are NBA champions, something Jimmy Butler knows nothing about. I think I would lean Celtics in this one. I don't want to be called biased, but give me the guy that was first-team All-NBA, led his team in points, rebounds, and assists on the way to a finals win, and the guy that was snubbed from All-NBA and ended up winning finals MVP. I think I'd go with those two guys.
So you're saying that if Jimmy Butler played in the first round, he wouldn't have punched the Celtics in the face?
Jimmy Butler and his 13-13 record against the Celtics in the playoffs? No, I don't think his heroics of just showing up for 2 months a year during the NBA season was going to get it done yet again.
Kind of trolling the Heat, I'm not going to lie to you.
Yeah, they deserve it. They do the same. They're lying if they say they wouldn't.
Not going to lie. So, did you watch any of these fan celebrations from last night?
I saw a couple videos. I had a couple buddies that went to the game, season ticket holders. Happy for them. But I didn't see anything too crazy. Are you about to tell me something pretty crazy happened?
I'm just watching Fox 25 right now. It's like everyone needed to climb something. Why do you need to? What are you looking at? Why do you need to climb a street light? Like you know, red, yellow light, like the signals. Why do you need that? Who climbs a stoplight?
Gonna have to turn into Philly where they just start greasing the light poles before
they should.
Big games.
Why not? What are we waiting for? It's all these college kids, idiots. This is what I mean about parades. By the way, I've gone to listen. The last parade that I went to was in 2008. So there's been 16 years since I've went to a parade. I don't do parades anymore. I'm out. And the last parade, you know what happened? The last parade that happened in this town. The Patriots won, and they fired Claude Julien the day of the parade. Nobody knew about it.
Do you think anybody's getting fired on Friday?
Dirty move. Ooh. Jason Kidd?
No. People are now going to spin it. Jason Kidd over, like they did better than they expected. The Mavs are a second half team. They figured something out in the second half. Roster wasn't that great. We're going to hear about how Luka and Kyrie carried them. Their depth wasn't great, even though we just played you sound where multiple NBA analysts and guys that are supposed to know what they're talking about say, the Mavs are deeper, Mavs in 5. Now we're going to get the revisionist history that it was Luka and Kyrie. They got to get them more help. But when it's Tatum and Brown, you get them help, and they don't get credit. So just pick a side. You need help to win a title. Luka and Kyrie need help. They're great players. You need more. It's just how the league works. The Mavericks had a great season. The Celtics were just better.
They were the best team. They are who we thought they were. The best team all year long. And if you want to crown them, now is the time to crown their ass.
If you want to crown them, then crown their ass. But they are who we thought they were.
And they let them off the hook. Dallas let them off the hook. Miami let them off the hook. Indy let them off the hook. They all let them off the hook. All right, we're back here tomorrow night. Full show. We might have to start incorporating some baseball into the conversation here, and the team has won 4 in a row. So nothing to, now's a good time for this team to start to get going. So we'll break that down tomorrow night. So that's it for tonight. Hope everybody enjoyed the extended Celtics coverage. Thanks, Kevin, our intern. Nice job tonight. Skaz, great job as always. We're back here tomorrow night, everybody. Thank